The southeast of Nigeria is one of the most economically vibrant regions in Africa, home to the legendary commercial centers like Onitsha, Mbah, Nnewi, and Enugu. The region has produced some of Nigeria's most successful entrepreneurs, industrialists, traders, and investors. Yet, despite billions of naira spent on roads, flyovers, government buildings, market, and urban renewal projects, a difficult question continues to emerge. Why does the Southeast still struggle to produce truly world-class cities? Why do cities with enormous economic potential still battle traffic congestion, poor urban planning, flooding, informal settlement, weak public transportation systems, and inconsistent city aesthetics? Are governors failing, or are they trying to solve decades of neglect with limited resources? This documentary investigates both sides of the argument, because building a world-class city is not merely about constructing roads. It is about creating urban environments that are organized, sustainable, economically competitive, technologically advanced, attractive to investors, and comfortable for residents. The debate has become even louder under governors like Charles Soludo and Mbah, whose administrations have launched ambitious urban transformation projects. But are these projects enough? Or is the Southeast still falling behind cities like Lagos, Kigali, Dubai, Singapore, and emerging African urban centers? This is the story of ambition, missed opportunities, progress, and the race to build globally competitive cities in eastern Nigeria. Before judging Southeast governors, we must first define what a world-class city actually means. Many people assume that a world-class city simply means skyscrapers. That is wrong. Some of the most livable cities in the world are not filled with skyscrapers. A world-class city is measured by urban planning, transportation, drainage systems, housing quality, public spaces, safety, economic productivity, environmental sustainability, tourism appeal, and technological infrastructure. Cities such as Singapore became world-class cities because they combined economic growth and planning. Dubai combined infrastructure with tourism. Kigali combined cleanliness with governance. The question is whether Southeast cities are following similar models, and if not, why? One of the strongest arguments against the region's current urban condition is its economic strength. Cities such as Onitsha, Mbah, and Nnewi generate enormous commercial activity every day. The famous Onitsha market ecosystem is regarded as one of the largest trading hubs in West Africa. Nnewi became known as the Japan of Africa because of its concentration of indigenous manufacturing and entrepreneurship. Mbah remains one of Nigeria's leading centers for local manufacturing. Yet, when visitors arrive in many of these cities, they often ask a shocking question. If this region is so wealthy, why don't their cities look wealthier? The contrast between private wealth and public infrastructure has become one of the biggest urban debates in the Southeast. Millions of dollars are invested in private mansions, hotels, churches, and business complexes. But public urban infrastructure frequently struggles to keep pace. That contradiction forms the foundation of this documentary. Many of today's problems did not begin with the current governors. According to a UN Habitat urban assessment of Onitsha, decades of rapid growth occurred without adequate planning systems, resulting in severe infrastructure deficits and urban management challenges. The report notes that uncontrolled expansion, weak land use management, and inadequate infrastructure contributed significantly to the city's urban challenges. This means many of the governors inherited cities that were already expanding faster than planning authorities could manage. Roads became markets, drainages channel became building sites, residential zones became industrial zones, population growth outpaced infrastructure. The result was predictable: traffic, flooding, congestion, environmental degradation, urban disorder. Many experts argue that current administration are attempting to fix problems created over several decades. Now comes the criticism. Many residents believe governors are not thinking big enough. Their argument is simple. Most projects focus heavily on roads. Roads are important, but world-class cities require much more. Critics point to lack of modern rail systems, weak mass transit infrastructure, few iconic architectural landmarks, limited waterfront development, insufficient public parks, poor waste management systems, weak enforcement of urban planning regulation. Some urban development discussions among Nigerians frequently highlight a broader national issue. Projects often lack pedestrian infrastructure, proper drainage, signage, street lighting, and long-term planning standards. The criticism is that governors often celebrate road construction while neglecting the complete urban ecosystem. A city is more than asphalt. A city is a living system, and many believe the Southeast remains behind in that regard. No governor has generated more urban development debate in recent years than Charles Soludo. Supporters argue that his administration represents the most ambitious urban renewal effort in Anambra's modern history. Projects include Ekulobia flyover, urban renewal schemes, modern transport hubs, new market, road dualization project, smart city concept, Oboko regeneration efforts. His administration budgets prioritize infrastructure and urban transformation, with major investments directed towards roads, expansion, industrial development, tourism facilities, and urban renewal. Under programs such as Oka 2.0 and Onitsha 2.0, the transformation of Oboko is frequently cited as one of the administration's flagship achievements. Roads, healthcare facilities, water systems, and street lighting have been introduced into an area once described as one of the state's largest slums. Supporters see this as a genuine city building. Critics see it differently. They argue that despite visible improvements, cities like Onitsha still suffer major traffic, sanitation, and planning challenges. The debate continues. Meanwhile, Enugu is attempting a different strategy. Governor Peter Mbah's administration has embraced the language of smart cities, technology, investment attraction, and modern urban planning. Report on the Enugu Smart City project describe plans for integrated infrastructure, digital systems, modern layouts, and technology-driven development designed to attract investors and reshape the city's future. The vision is ambitious. Create not merely a larger city, create a smarter city, a city that competes internationally, a city capable of attracting technology companies, investors, tourists, and high-value industries. But questions remain. Can such projects survive political transition? Can they attract sufficient private investment? Can execution match ambition? Those questions will determine whether Enugu Smart City dream becomes reality. Perhaps the greatest puzzle of the Southeast is this: why do wealthy people build world-class homes while cities remain underdeveloped? The answer lies partly in governance structure. Individual wealth does not automatically produce public infrastructure. Private citizens can build mansions. Only governments can build drainage networks, urban rail, airports, drainage systems, sewage systems, city parks, and mass transit systems. Another factor is investment culture. Many investors prioritize family compounds and commercial properties over collective urban projects. This creates impressive private development surrounded by weak public infrastructure. The result is urban fragmentation. A luxury mansion may sit beside an unplanned road. A modern hotel may face an open drainage channel. A city cannot become a world class when excellence exists only at individual level. No city becomes world-class without security. Investors require predictability. Tourists require safety. Residents require confidence. Parts of the Southeast have faced security concerns in recent years. These concerns affect tourism, foreign investment, real estate, nighttime economies, urban expansion. Even the most ambitious city plans can struggle if investors perceive risk. Urban development is therefore not merely an engineering challenge, it is also a governance challenge. A governor may build roads, but sustaining world-class urban growth requires law enforcement, institutional stability, and public confidence. One criticism repeatedly raised by observers is the absence of iconic skylines. Compared to Lagos, Johannesburg, Nairobi, or even Kigali, many Southeast cities remain largely horizontal. Why? Some experts point to land ownership structures, cultural attachment to family compounds, lower land pressure, limited institutional financing, weak urban zoning enforcement. The result is a widespread low-rise development. There is nothing inherently wrong with low-rise cities. However, critics argue that the region lacks landmark development capable of redefining urban identity. Many Southeast cities feel economically active but visually underwhelming. Whether governors can change that remains an open question. Despite criticism, fairness requires acknowledging progress. Across the region, several administrations have increased spending on infrastructure. Road networks have expanded. Urban renewal projects have accelerated. Transport hubs are emerging. Commercial districts are being upgraded. In Anambra, projects ranging from Ekolobia's redevelopment to major road reconstruction efforts show attempts at structured urban modernization. In Enugu, smart city planning and infrastructure investment indicate a desire to move beyond traditional city expansion. Those efforts may not yet qualify as world-class transformation, but they represent movement, and movement matters. To truly compete globally, future governors may need to think beyond roads. A world-class Southeast city would likely require comprehensive master plans, mass transit systems, integrated drainage networks, modern waste management, public parks and recreation, high-density mixed-use district, technology infrastructure, tourism-focused development, riverfront and waterfront regeneration, strong planning enforcement. Most importantly, development must continue across administrations. Cities are not built in 4 years. Singapore took decades. Dubai took decades. Kigali took decades. The Southeast will require similar long-term commitment. The answer is not as simple as a yes or no. If the standard is whether the Southeast cities currently rank among the world's most advanced urban centers, then the answer is clearly no. The region has not produced cities comparable to Singapore, Dubai, Kigali, or even Nairobi in terms of urban scale and infrastructure. But if the question is whether governors are doing absolutely nothing, the evidence suggests otherwise. Projects in Anambra and Enugu indicate that significant investments are underway in roads, urban renewal, smart city initiatives, transportation infrastructure, and public facilities. Perhaps the real issue is not failure. Perhaps it is skill. The governors are building, but many citizens believe they are not building boldly enough. The Southeast stands at a crossroad. It possesses the talent. It possesses the capital. It possesses the entrepreneurial culture. The remaining question is whether political leadership can match the ambition of its people, because history shows that great cities are not accidents. They are visions brought to life, and the next decade may determine whether the Southeast finally creates the world-class cities its economic strength has long promised. The future of Southeast is not written yet. It will not be defined by today's roads or even today's flyovers. It will be defined by vision, by leadership that dares to think beyond the next election and instead build for the next generation. Because history has shown us something powerful. Great cities are not built by chance. They are built by bold decisions, sustained over time. The Southeast has the money, it has the people, it has the entrepreneurial spirit. But the real question is this: will it find the leadership and long-term planning needed to match its potential? Or will it remain a region of incredible private wealth surrounded by underdeveloped cities? The answer is not just in the hands of the governors, it is in the hands of policymakers, investors, urban planners, and even the people themselves. Because in the end, a world-class city is not just built by government, it is built by a collective vision, and the clock is ticking. If you found this documentary insightful, don't just watch and scroll away. Like this video. It helps push the conversation to more Nigerians. Subscribe now for more deep, powerful documentaries on the Southeast and Nigeria's future. Share this video with someone who believes in the Southeast and believes the Southeast deserves better cities. And most importantly, Drop your opinion in the comments. Are Southeast governors truly failing, or are they doing their best under difficult conditions? Let's have a real conversation, because silence builds nothing, but conversations can build cities.